Welcome to Almanac North. I'm Mari Hewitt.
And I'm Brett Scott. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we have a special guest, St. Louis County Auditor Nancy Nilsson, joining us.
Plus a plethora of new segments in our Making It Up North and Venture North series.
That's all coming up, but first we begin this evening with some headlines. St. Louis County officials are weighing the outcomes of Minnesota's 2025 legislative session, which wrapped up early Tuesday morning. County leaders say they're grateful to the local delegation for advocating on behalf of residents during a session marked by tough budget decisions. Administrator Kevin Gray noted key wins like preserving county program aid and avoiding major cost shifts in human services. County Board Chair Annie Harla added, quote, "We appreciate legislators listening to our concerns regarding the significant impact any cuts would have as we work to provide the services the state requires us to do and our citizens expect." While no St. Louis County projects made it into the bonding bill, Commissioner Paul McDonald said the county will keep pushing for support, including new solid waste campus in Canyon. He applauded continued state funding for road, bridge, and wetland replacement programs, critical for a county with thousands of miles of infrastructure. Officials say they'll keep analyzing both state and federal developments in the months ahead.
St. Louis County Public Works is developing a new safety action plan focused on improving traffic safety across county roads, excluding those within Duluth city limits. Duluth has its own plan underway through the Duluth Superior Metropolitan Interstate Council. The county's effort is funded by the federal Safe Streets and Roads for All program and aims to identify and prioritize safety improvements for all types of travelers, drivers, cyclists, pedestrians, and those using mobility devices. Public input is a key part of the process. You can share your safety concerns, take a survey, or join a focus group by visiting the project website, St. Louis County Safety Action Plan at Engage St. Louis County.
Tonight, tensions are rising between Essentia Health and the Minnesota Nurses Association. This week, Essentia filed a formal complaint with the National Labor Relations Board, accusing the union of bargaining in bad faith. According to Essentia, they offered 54 potential bargaining dates ahead of the June 30th contract expiration for acute care nurses in the Twin Ports. The union accepted just 8 of those. Essentia also says the MNA has yet to present a wage proposal or to respond to Essentia's full contract offer, which was first shared in April. The complaint alleges the union is stalling negotiations, while Essentia says it remains focused on securing a fair agreement for nurses and patients. One final session is scheduled for June 25th.
Next, we'll send you over to Dennys Desk with Dennis Anderson. Denny.
Thank you, Maria. I'm Dennis Anderson, and this is Dennys Desk. Each June, Pride Month invites us to pause and reflect, not only on how far we've come, but on the kind of community we want to continue building. For many LGBTQ+ individuals, simply being seen fully, honestly, and without judgment is still a radical thing. And that's why visibility matters. That's why pride matters. That's why many take pride in living in a region that strives to support all people. Here in Duluth, Superior, and across the North, we celebrate pride not just with flags and festivals, but with something deeper, a shared belief that community means everyone, that dignity isn't conditional, that being different doesn't mean being alone. When we include people in our workplaces, our classrooms, and our neighborhoods, we do more than make room. We make each other stronger. Diverse voices bring new ideas. Diverse stories help us understand our own. And when someone sees themselves represented, it is an affirmation. They know they belong here. And in a world that too often sends the opposite message, that simple truth is powerful. So let's keep showing up. We keep listening. We keep celebrating. Because pride isn't about being the same. It's about embracing each other in all ways we're different. And this has been Dennys Desk. Back to you, Maria.
Thank you, Denny. Tonight, we're excited to share a segment from our new show, No Filter, which is a conversational interview series that explores the rich tapestry of Northern life through informal conversations with diverse, intriguing people from the region.
Each episode is bringing a fresh voice to the screen, focusing on the unique perspectives, personal journeys, and life experiences shaping the Northern community.
We will share a short sample of our conversation here on Almanac North, but we would invite you to explore full episodes of No Filter on the PBS North YouTube channel. Full episodes will be available there soon.
welcome to the coldest town in the nation, International Falls. Our guest today is somewhat of a local legend. He is a fourth-generation Rainy Lake resident. He's been a fishing guide since the age of 13. He has 30 years in real estate. He has a line of spirits named after him. He has his own theme song, if you can believe that. We are just so excited to welcome Barry Woods, otherwise known as Woody, to No Filter today. Okay, Woody, welcome to No Filter.
Well, thanks, Krista. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so happy to meet you and share your story, which is an incredible one, very colorful. You wear a lot of hats, as we'll get into.
Well, you have to up in this neck of the woods to make a living, you know, but it's not that I don't mind, because it's kind of a spice of life, you know.
I like that, spice of life. So let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
You are fourth generation living on Rainy Lake.
Right.
So talk a little bit about your family history.
Okay, well, I had a great-grandpa he came from Quebec City back in the 1870s, and he ended up in Brainerd, Minnesota. He was a lumberman, logger. And then he found his way in the late 1890s. He found his way up here. There was a gold mining going on, Rainy Lake City. And he ended up building and operating a resort. Well, it's called Island View Lodge now. But he was counted in the last census of Rainy Lake City when it was actual city. And I think the last census was like 1905. And he was counted in that census as an operator. And then after the gold mining, didn't pan out, he did some commercial fishing, and then my grandpa, his son, he was a commercial fisherman, and so my mom kind of grew up in these fish camps in the summertime, and otherwise my grandpa had been a councilman on the city council in Rainier, Minnesota, which was a town that was established in 1908. It's just east of International Falls, on the shores of Sand Bay. And let's see, what else could I tell you about that? So Rainier was kind of a neat town, and I was actually born in Fort Francis. Okay. I think my mom's doctor had retired, so she had me. It wasn't for political reasons. It was just for ease, I guess, close. And so I'm half and half, I guess. I don't know.
So with that long family history, what are some of your memories growing up in this area? I mean, I know that you are an outdoors guy.
Yep.
So talk about some of your favorite childhood memories.
Well, basically, fishing and swimming. That's about all I'm going to do in the summer. I didn't really like to go to town, to International Falls in the summer where people are playing baseball and stuff, so I like to hang around the lake. Yeah. And so my childhood was filled with walking along the shoreline and casting until I was able to secure a boat. And then, like I say, swimming with a lot of friends and just hanging around,
The ideal childhood.
Oh, it was wonderful. I couldn't imagine it, anything different. Very fortunate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you have a lot of family still in the area?
Well, actually, I have 11 brothers and sisters.
11.
So I'm the youngest of 12. And there's still about 5 or 6 living in the area. Some have passed, a few have passed, but such is life, But fun childhood, We didn't have a big house. In fact, there was a burned down hotel that my dad put a flat roof on when he came back from World War II. And so we were pretty crowded. It was like a sardine can in there, but, it was fun growing up with the big family, and watching my sisters fight over clothes. And
How many girls to boys? 7
girls and 5 boys. Yeah. And it was constant change, people moving out, and but a lot of people came back to visit. It was really crowded. Christmas times and stuff were just wild,
We had a built-in neighborhood of friends.
Oh, yeah.
How many siblings?
Yeah, we had a picnic table for a table.
I
mean,
just
we did.
squeeze in there,
Oh,
too.
God, it was, everybody scattered around, and whoever brought friends home, they got to eat, too. And that's just the way it was back then. There was a lot of big families, not just ours. It was, and we were right next to the railroad track, so I don't think they got a lot of sleep.
I would imagine not. Can you talk a little bit about why you chose to stay here and live your life here?
Well, it didn't have a lot of options. I don't know. I started being a fishing guide with my uncle when I was like 13 or 14, and I kind of liked doing it. And I moved away a couple times, but without a real great education, hard to get your foot in the door. Plus, I never was a tradesman because I spent too much time screwing around on the lake. So I did bartending and that sort of thing. Then I'd come back here and do some more guiding, and then finally I decided I'm just going to keep doing this because it works, and keep me in. Not necessarily tall cotton, but I had pants and shirts.
Well, you're still a fishing guide, correct?
I'm more or less retired now.
Okay.
I take a lot of friends fishing though, but
Okay.
no, I'm more or less retired from fishing now. I did just about 50 years of that fishing, and I am a real estate agent now on the lake, on Rainy Lake, and so I still go out on the lake just about every day, and I'm, take people fishing and try to sell them a cabin, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it makes sense as a crossover, right?
Yeah.
Someone who knows real estate and who knows the
Yeah,
best fishing spots.
Yeah, when it comes to lake real estate, it's not always about 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's which way the wind's coming,
Right.
and how deep is it off the dock?
Was it an obvious move for you to work with your uncle at 13 as a fishing guide, or what brought you there?
Our guest this week is St. Louis County Auditor Treasurer Nancy Nilsson. Nancy, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you. So what does a county commissioner, treasurer, you're both roles, what do you do on a daily basis?
Well, as the auditor, I really don't have something that I do on an everyday basis, which really is why I like the job. So I have a whole plethora of things that take place. So some of the things is I'll go to the St. Louis County board meetings and their workshops. I'm there as a support person for them, so if they have any financial questions or needs, I'm there to answer those. I'm on many committees, liquor licensing committee, extension committee, the insurance committee, make sure our health insurance fund is doing well. I'm on several boards. There's something called a Magic Fund board. That's where we invest a lot of our money, and so for the past couple of years I was the chair of that board. We have a software company that is an integral part of our office, a tax software that is called MSIS, and I'm the vice chair of that board. Next year I'll be the chair of that one, and there's 13 counties throughout the state of Minnesota that have come together to really support this tax software that we utilize.
And you don't seem stressed out at all. Yeah. I'm sitting here like, what?
Oh, it gets interesting. One of my fun ones is Campus Squagama. I'm on that board, and that's been a very enjoyable one as well. I meet with St. Louis County residents, and I answer a lot of emails where people call, and they call too, but they'll send emails and ask questions and so forth. I have the passport operations that I am responsible for. So we have to be certified every year, so I go through the certification process and work to make sure we have all the training done and the paperwork done, and then we get audited by the Department of State. So they come in and they have us show them what we do and how we do it, make sure that we're doing it right and so forth. So that's always interesting. I provide support for my directors and managers. So the departments that report up through me are finance and accounting, the tax department, elections, and clerk of the board. and then the licensing center, which is up at the service center, which is up at the mall, and then internal audit. So all of those areas have excellent managers and directors, and then I work with them to be able to keep those running smoothly. I review and sign all contracts that of a financial nature that come through the county, and so that could be grants, snowmobile and ATV club funding, purchases of services, road maintenance. If we need to buy a plow or something of that nature, a truck that comes through my office. I participate in bonding as necessary. So I work with the chair of the finance, and I work with our administration and the director of finance and outside entities that help us go through that process when we need to borrow money. My budget is $5.5 million, so I'm creating and managing that on a regular basis. Travel vouchers all go through me, so as people are traveling throughout the county, I'm keeping an eye on where they're going and how much they're spending and that type of thing. I create contracts that have favorable outcomes for us, conditions. With 70 employees within my office, we have personnel issues. Not a lot, but because I have excellent employees, I do have to say yes, that we do really well with that. We create policies, such as our travel policy. We just redid that to make sure that that's keeping up to date with what the latest things are going on. And I think to sum it up, I'd probably say I solve issues. I solve problems that come up on a regular basis, and it's really interesting. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot that falls under your umbrella. Let's take a look at the financial health of the county. What is your role in tracking that, understanding it?
Sure. So our finance department really supports all of the county's departments. We do grant management, we do vendor payments, payroll, investments. So I mean, these are one-word things, but they're all very, very involved. Debt management, bond issuance, as I just said, auditing and financial reporting. But then we also have the tax department, and within the tax department, we have a tax software that allows the assessors to put the assessments in for each of the parcels that that are out within the county, and then the county board sets the levy, and that gets implemented into this tax software. And then you have all the jurisdictions, the cities, the townships and school districts and so forth. They give us what their elected officials have set for their levies. That gets put into the tax software along with lots of other things. Then it cranks out the tax statements. We send those all out to the public, and then as the money comes back in, we collect that, we distribute it to all the different entities, keep St. Louis County's portion so that we could pay our bills too, and then basically manage it from there. So
that tax software needs to stay up and functional.
Yeah.
It's a big role.
Yes, it's a key piece to our to the department.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How does your job specifically change when the federal government, a new administration comes in and maybe changes their budget? How does that trickle down to your job?
Well, we are constantly keeping an eye on that. I mean, we really have to be watching what legislature is happening, like right now with the state. In fact, we added a third budgeting day because the budget process was taking so long that we had to extend out our budget process to keep track of what was happening with the legislature so that we could incorporate that into our next year's budget, because it definitely plays a role, in how we manage the funds and what we have to work with.
How does your office support local community projects and services throughout the county?
Well, we most of those come through grants, and as the grant process takes place, we help people apply for the grants. We monitor how they're progressing, the reporting requirements, and that type of a thing. And so, grants are a huge part of the way we fund things and help communities. We also work with the planning department, and so as they're needing to do some economic development, we may be helping them find some tax incentives, funding mechanisms that can help with that as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You made your job sound so fun at the beginning. Right? Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face in your role as auditor and treasurer?
Well, right now, the biggest challenge is the cuts in spending at the federal and the state level. Many of the services that we provide they're paid for by the federal and state governments, they're also statutorily required. We have to do them. So when they cut back their funding, we then have to start to try to figure out how are we going to do this, because we still have to do it, but yet not have the funding to go along with it. So then it's reviewing other areas and where are we going to cut and that type of a thing in order to be able to still.
And what does
move
that
forward.
process look like when those cuts are made and then the county has to come up with a new action plan? Are you leading that? Are you working with the county board? Who's all involved?
So that would be it's going to be everybody, because it's all a part of the budgeting process. So for our budgeting process, each department has to take a look at what they need in order to be able to function. They submit that to our administration, and then administration and the finance department, our department, some elected officials that are on the finance committee, they all get together and they take a look at everything that people are submitting and what is it that we're trying to accomplish and how do they really meet the needs of the citizens. And so from there, it goes to the county board. And this year we're going to have 3 days of looking at every single department and what the expenditures are that people want, and what the revenue is going to be that's coming in, or lack thereof in some of these cases. And then once that takes place, we'll get feedback from the county board. They'll let us know this is an area that we don't necessarily think that we can move in at this point in time because of maybe some lack of funding and so forth. And so we have to adjust our priorities and to be able to, we've got to live within the budget. That's that's what it's all about. And so then come September, we all get together and set our preliminary numbers. And then in November, we'll meet with the public to find out what their input is. Are we going in the right direction? How do you feel? And then by the middle of December, we're setting the levy for the next year. And so throughout all that, we're finding out what our funding mechanisms are going to be, what we have to work with, and how we have to change our priorities and so forth, so that once that funding is set, all of that information goes into our budgeting software, so that throughout the year, we're watching what we're spending on a constant basis. And our software keeps track of what they're supposed to be able to spend, and doesn't allow them to go over that. So if it looks like they're getting close, then we're having discussions to talk about what is it that's happening and going on to be able to help them through that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Big system.
Having a background in IT, you worked for, was it 25 years?
Yeah.
Before you got this job in IT, how has that helped you excel in the role that you're in right now?
Well, what I used to do was make businesses run more efficiently and effectively through IT software. So I took that experience and brought it to the county. And we really took a look at our operations and said, what kind of systems can we install that will help? And so one thing that we did was we put in a system that allowed people to pay their property taxes online. Well, now we used to have trays and trays and trays of payments that would come in, and it would take a lengthy amount of time to get through those payments. Now people are paying them online. We're getting less time that our staff is having to spend to go through those, and money's getting into the bank quicker, so we get interest on our money faster. So that's one system we implemented. We also implemented a paperless accounts payable process. We also pay vendors electronically now, so that we're not having to print checks and use ink and pay postage and that type of thing. So we did that, and then Fast Track Gov is called. We allow people to apply for permits and licenses online, so that they're not having to do papers and come in and all of that type of thing. So yeah, anywhere that we can, we're trying to mechanize things and make it electronic.
You mentioned that a big part of your role is, hearing from citizens, community members, whether phone calls or emails. What do the citizens, what are their general questions or thoughts? What are they looking to get solved from you?
Well, a lot of times it's, how can you help me with my property taxes? And sometimes we have to pass them on to the assessors because a lot of it has to do with they don't understand the valuing of their homes and that type of thing. But we help them come up with ways in which they can make payments. So sometimes they don't know that there's ways in which they can back taxes. They're able to come up with payment plans so that they're not losing their homes, that they're all fearful that that's going to happen. And we try to do everything that we can to help them get through that, if they're having a difficult problem or something, to get through something like that. I get a lot of data practices requests from people, not necessarily from locals, but from others that are saying, well, how much money is sitting out there on the books, and tell me who it's owed to, so that I can try to find them and help get their money back for them. So I get a lot of those requests too.
How do you balance that, the rising property value and also people's incomes that may not be rising as quickly? How do you balance that at the county level?
Well, that's really falls on the county board. So I'm here to help them with that type of a decision, but they really have to work with the assessors department, and the assessors department really, they are tied to their state requirements that say you have to be following these guidelines in order to be able to assess properties at a certain value level. And if you don't, then we're going to step in and assess it for you. And so they are very good at making sure that they're doing their due diligence to make sure that the assessments of homes are done accurately. And then through the budget process, we work really hard to try to keep that budget down so that we're not having to levy more than we need to in order to provide the services. So it's really just kind of working with the county board and the assessor's office to be able to say, this is what I'm hearing. There's a lot of people that are, have concerns, and rein it in. That's what I'm always saying, rein it in.
Well, final question, looking ahead, what are some priorities in the next year?
We're looking at putting in a new budgeting software, but because budgeting is such an important piece of the puzzle here, at the county, it's important that we have software that is, really beneficial to help us make that as easy as possible. And then we're putting in a new travel system, expense report system, so that people can put their travel expenses in online, and they can put all their documentation in online, and we can really review everything very quickly as it comes through instead of pushing papers. So it's all about making things more efficient.
Yeah, and technology has definitely changed that role.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Next, we're sending you off to venture north with this segment focusing on libraries. Take a look.
Libraries are important because they allow you to do anything you want to do. Reading, watching movies, listening to music, learning new skills or hobbies, traveling to anywhere in or outside of the world. You can be whoever you want to be, go wherever you want to go. For free. For free. That's probably my favorite part. Hello, I am Bethany Leisman, and I am the Library Director at the Carleton Area Public Library. In addition to books, the library offers movies, music, audiobooks. We have STEM kits and reading kits, and some libraries offer library of things, cake pans, electric mixers, power tools. We have toys and games and puzzles. We have legacy and kid stuff performances, so you can come in and be entertained without having to pay for anything or having to sign up for anything. We offer a safe space to be who you are without any judgment and without worry. In our community room or our activity room, we have craft supplies that are out all the time, so you can come and just be creative whenever you want. It is also space for charging your devices or doing research, meeting up with friends for a space to gather. It is also where we have our programs, and we host most of the same programs that all the other libraries in the library system do. And the Arrowhead Library System does an amazing job of a variety of different programming from comedians and magicians and artists and authors. We learn different crafts and different hobbies, and we learn songs and dance. And I feel it's very special because we offer all of that for free, and we just invite everyone to show up. I think that's something that people might not realize that our library has is a strong connection to our community. And we tend to hear a lot that, oh, I didn't know Carleton had a library. We are unfortunately one of Carleton's best kept secrets. We are located in the basement of City Hall, which is lovely because then we have beautiful windows for our plants and light. And it's nice and cool during the summer, and it's nice and warm during the winter. And because it is an older building, it has amazing character and feels very cozy and welcoming. If you would like to support your library, we love volunteers. We love when people help spread the word about what we're doing, where we're at, what we're up to. Financial support is always welcome and needed. And we really love our community and our supporters and our volunteers. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't be here. And I've seen the love pour in through our community during different donation periods, and it is always very rewarding to see how much people love their libraries. For someone visiting us for the first time, I would recommend that they check out something new. Check out something you've maybe thought of checking out before, but you haven't done it yet. Explore a new format of reading or a new topic. If you've never been to a library program before, find one that's it. Even if it's not at our library, all the libraries in the system have the same programs, and if you miss one, there's usually another one soon that you can make it to.
I loved your call to action. Go check out the library.
Yeah, there's
You've never
such
been.
wonderful places, and we often take them for granted, I feel.
I know. Do you have a
It's
favorite
important.
childhood book?
We were just talking about this. I love The Mitten by Jan Brett. Not because it's got my name in it, or her name. You remember?
Yeah, yes.
You know, the mitten
yes.
that all stretches out and all the
yeah,
critters go and
yes.
live in it.
I can envision the illustration.
It's fun. What's yours?
Ooh, like a little older, Last of the Really Great Wing Doodles. Like that's like a young.
I'll have to check it out.
That's kind of an obscure one, but look it up. It's a very good, like 4th, 5th grade. Still love that book.
All right. I'm excited now. Let's end the show and go read it. Another Venture North segment for you this week. You get 2 for 1. This one featuring the nonprofit organization Duluth Monarch Buddies. Their mission is to create and restore monarch butterfly habitats and educate about all things monarch butterflies. Here's what they had to say.
My name is Kathy Wood, and I am the president of Duluth Monarch Buddies and also president of the Arrowhead chapter of Wild Ones.
Hi, my name is Alex Carroll. I'm the keynote speaker at the Duluth Monarch Buddies event today. I work for the Monarch Joint Venture, which is a nonprofit based in the Twin Cities, but we work throughout North America, and I'm the Eastern Science Coordinator there. Duluth Monarch Buddies event is an event to celebrate monarchs and to invite people to learn more about them and learn how they can help the monarch population and to get people excited. There's a lot of neat booths here today and a plant sale.
Duluth Monarch Buddies is a nonprofit that educates and promotes about monarch butterflies, their plight, what we can do to help them, create more habitat for them, and just to promote pollinator gardens, which of course help all pollinators.
Monarchs are a declining species, unfortunately, and so it's important to get all hands on deck, everyone involved in monarch conservation, in learning more and in planting more milkweed and flowering plants to help the monarch population. They're really beautiful and charismatic species. A lot of people are excited about monarchs and love to see them out in nature, and they draw a lot of people into learning more about nature. And so it's important to learn more and to do what we can to help them.
Okay, the problem with monarchs right now, and it's not been right now, it's been for quite a few years, the use of pesticides, really weather changes too have contributed to the loss of milkweed and the habitat that monarchs need.
Drones and monarchs may seem like a strange combination, but actually we use drones in our conservation work. And what we do is we send up a drone and flies over the landscape and takes photographs. And then we analyze those photographs to look for common milkweed, which is an important host plant for monarch butterfly larvae when they're developing. And we also look for flowering plants and other habitat characteristics. As larvae, monarchs can only eat milkweed. That's the only plant they can eat, so there are some milkweed plants for sale here. But when they're adult butterflies, they drink nectar from a wide variety of plants. And so a lot of the native species here are great plants that monarchs enjoy drinking nectar from.
It's the laying of the eggs and the caterpillars that need the milkweed, and the milkweed has been disappearing. And so we need to plant more milkweed. We need to plant more milkweed. And so actually right now monarchs are, they will be, I think, listed as endangered now nationally. And so the push is all over the country to be creating more plots, areas for the growing of milkweed.
Drones have been used for many other types of conservation projects, but this is a new project using drones to look for pollinator habitat. We've been doing this for a few years. We've helped to develop this technology working with a technology partner, and so we're gradually expanding and investigating new landscapes using this technology.
Why is this personal for me? Is mostly because I'm an avid gardener, and I really, as a member of Wild Ones, I really push native plants, and most pollinators do better with you finding and the nectar from native plants. And thinking about it, native plants use less water. They grow naturally here, which all of the wildlife have evolved with. And so for me, my yard is native. I'm promoting the use of native because that's what grows here. Why struggle growing these other things? And people grow plants because they're beautiful, because they look a certain way. That's fine, I understand that. But a lot of pollinators cannot access the nectar in those plants, those flowers. And so native is the way to go.
I really love finding plants that I don't expect to see. I go out when I'm out flying drones or when I'm doing habitat surveys on the ground. Sometimes I'll see like a bush clover that I wasn't expecting to see out there, and that makes me really excited when I see good native plants and in spots I wasn't expecting. I do a lot of surveys along rights of way and roadsides, and some of them are just kind of boring. They got a lot of grass. Sometimes they have a lot of milkweed, and then sometimes you'll find some neat plants or some monarch eggs on a roadside, and that makes me really excited to see that pollinators are out there and using the plants that are out there.
Okay, they're giving gardeners information. There are new gardeners here that need to know how to create those pollinator gardens, where to find milkweed, which we're providing here for people to buy. We also have free milkweed seeds, and to just educate about the all-round use of their property for pollinators. Bee lawns, reducing lawns, reducing fertilizer and pesticides on lawns that really affect all pollinators, including monarchs. So these are different conservation groups that are here that are offering their assistance, their information, that will educate the public, the community.
I hope people are excited about monarchs after this event and learn something about what they can do to help monarchs, planting milkweed or planting native plants in their gardens. There's a lot of good options here at the plant sale. And I hope they learn a bit about drones and how technology can be applied in helpful ways to help us learn more about what plants are out there on the landscape for monarchs and where we can potentially plant more and help them in the future. It's a neat combination of science and technology and conservation.
First of all, you can start small. You don't have to change your whole yard all at once. It's difficult, it's hard work. So once they've started, even small, they're just so surprised how, especially native plants, after 2-3 years, they just pop and they burst and they're wonderful and they spread. And the big thing is that any kind of pollinator gardens, people just sit back and they enjoy all the different pollinators that visit, all the different butterflies, even birds, hummingbirds that come and visit. And there are some people that just make lists and they sit there and watch to see all the different things that visit their yard that they didn't have before when it was just all lawn.
Oh, that was great. And you have milkweed in your garden.
Yes, we planted one milkweed, just one, last year, and it came back up this year with 5 different friends.
Oh.
So it's spread.
And have you seen caterpillars?
Not yet.
No?
We had one last year on the one stalk.
Okay. So hopefully 6 this year.
We can only go up from there.
That's right.
Exciting.
Now we'll visit with the YWCA of Duluth at their recent Gender Joy Art Fair, where local artists shared their work at the Zeitgeist.
Hi, my name is Morgan Barrell and I'm the Executive Director of YWCA Duluth. Today we are holding our Gender Joy Art Show reception here at Zeitgeist.
Hi, my name is Kelly Dupree and I'm an artist and I have a piece at this really cool Gender Joy Show. Well, I was intrigued by the title. I was intrigued by just kind of stretching myself a little bit and thinking about how does that fit? What should I do? I mean, it could go in any direction. I'm really connected to nature and inspired by nature primarily, so when I was thinking about this show and kind of looking out the window, I saw a bird flying around, getting a nest ready, and I thought, wow, that's kind of cool, that fits, and so I did a tree with a bird within a nest. I think art shows like this are super important for community connection, just to share creativity, to learn and get a chance to talk to different people from different places, and just to show the world the variety of creativity and art that we have here in Duluth. I just think it's really great. It's a really great community event. If people are downtown, they can just stop in. If you're on your way to dinner or on your way to the play, you could just stop in, take a big quick spin, and just see all the beautiful art that's here.
This exhibit is celebrating all the different spectrums of gender for women, girls, and gender expansive people. It's also an opportunity to resist attacks on our bodily autonomy by saying we're here and we're excited and happy in who we are. This is a community art salon, so anyone who wanted to submit, who's a woman, a girl, or a gender expansive person, was able to submit, and it was in the show. So no jury. We have been feeling a lot of gratitude from artists for putting together this show that gives people the opportunity of expression that, you know, just spans different realms and visions and materials. So I've just been experiencing a lot of gratefulness and also appreciation that we can come together and have a safe place to gather. First and foremost, I want people to experience joy, and I want them to ask themselves, how do I experience joy? If I were to express myself in an artistic form, what would that look like? And that's why we have an art project happening right now where we're asking people to do that. Secondly, I want people to know that there's lots of different ways of expressing how you feel on the inside and on the outside, that we're all unique and we all have a place on this earth.
Well, now we are introducing you to Miel, a unique beekeeping business in Duluth. Father-daughter duo Mark and Vanessa share what it's like working with bees together.
My name is Vanessa, and I am a co-owner of Miel here in Duluth, Minnesota.
My name is Mark Walters. I'm a beekeeper here in Duluth. We have bees in four different locations. We got some here at Duluth Heights. We got some by Chester Bowl, some on the west side of town, some on the east side of town. It's just a beekeeping business. We got about 30 hives. You know, compared to someone that has 1 or 2 hives, they think we're a big deal. Compared to the commercial people who have hundreds and thousands of hives, I'm a nothing. But locally, we have a lot of fun with beekeeping, doing a lot of things, getting to meet a lot of people. Everyone sees a bee and they run. Oh, the bee's gonna sting me.
I'm not really afraid of bees. I mean, nobody likes to get stung.
I work, you know, I always have a veil and gloves, protective gear with me. But most of the time, I don't wear a veil, I don't wear gloves, and I just work with using a smoker. So I'm there with bees all the time.
Being around bees can be, play on words. It's just kind of peaceful. You have to understand that, like, they're not out to get you. Like, I saw a quote one time that said, did a bee ever land on you and instead of panicking, you think that they mistook you for a beautiful flower? I was like, okay, that's kind of cool though. Now I can't be upset. Kind of teaches you to slow down and just do things a little bit more slowly, you know, because when you move through life too quickly, you can miss the little things. It's kind of zen when you do beekeeping, because like you listen to the bees flying and like you can tell when like their temperament changes. It's kind of legit actually.
Without bees, we'd all be kind of screwed, because I think there's about 2/3 of all the fruits and veggies that we get depend on bees for pollination. They're hard workers, you know. They oftentimes, you've heard, busy as a bee, and sometimes in the middle of summer when I'm working hard and trying to keep up with all their honey production and extracting and all that, I'm sitting in my swing here in the yard, and I'm watching them just going nuts, flying, and when they're flying hard, I know they're making more honey. And my thought sometimes is, look, give me a break. Can't you slow down a little bit?
My dad's pretty cool. I think it's like this weird, I don't think it's like a passing of the baton type of thing, but like I get to hang out with my dad and he's pretty legit. I have taken to like videoing when he gets in like story mode so I can like keep it. You know, my kids are like, oh, tell this one story, Miko, come on. You know, but it's just this little like, I guess I hang out with my dad. I mean, what's better than that? You know, and it's fun that it's ours and we created it and we're trying to maintain it and keep it as wholesome as it has been and still try to grow a little bit.
Just remember, you are a beautiful little flower.
Yeah. And next time a bee lands on me,
Let it land.
I'll remember that too. Bees, they are misunderstood.
It'll buzz off. Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was good. I'll give it to you. Our final video segment tonight is all about fishing. One group spent the evening teaching people how to fish and have fun along the way.
My name is Alyssa Johnson, and I am the program manager for the St. Louis River Alliance. My job as the program manager at the St. Louis River Alliance entails a lot of different things, a lot of promotion and events and outreach, and then coordinating all of our employees to make sure that we're staying on track for all of our grant deliverables. The St. Louis River Alliance is a community organization, a membership organization dedicated to protecting, restoring, and enhancing the St. Louis River. And we do a lot of work to connect people to the water and get them out to experience the beauty that's in our backyard. The importance of the St. Louis River Alliance is we were the original Citizens Action Committee when the St. Louis River was designated as an area of concern. We were the citizen component in the process to help clean up this area. So that's where we started, and now I think it's engaging people in what work's being done, what work still needs to be done, and then just encouraging people to get outside and enjoy this, because the more we enjoy it, the more we take care of it. Today we are having a beginner fishing event, and we're out here at Perch Lake Landing. We have invited the community to come out, enjoy a free event with free gear, to learn the basics of fishing, how to cast, how to bait their hook, and then just to hear fish stories and learn about the remediation and restoration work that's happened here. So the St. Louis River Alliance has many events, and we like to do a variety because we understand that everybody has a different interest. So this is the first time we've done a beginner fishing event, but it does go along with a series, our River Connection series, to help connect people back to the water. At tonight's class, people are going to learn about the restoration and remediation work that's been done to help clean up this area so we can all recreate and enjoy it. They'll also learn about general fish identification, the importance of water safety and fish consumption advisories, and just how to bait your hook and cast your line, and the importance of fishing regulations, and kind of the basics of what it takes to get out and enjoy the water. We chose Perch Lake Landing because we have a grant with Minnesota Pollution Control Agency to have different events along the Minnesota shoreline of the St. Louis River to help people connect to the work at the various restoration and remediation sites for the area of concern. So this is a 5-year grant. 4 years of that we're hosting events all along the river, and so this is our first time out at Perch Lake. So yeah, we're excited. The beginner fishing event is for all ages, all backgrounds, whether you're a first-time angler or experienced angler. The goal is to just build a community that gets out together. So we have, somebody who's a year old registered all the way up to 77 years old tonight. When we were promoting this, we prioritized those that live in the river neighborhoods on the Minnesota side, so the 18 communities that live adjacent to the St. Louis River, a lot of West Duluth and up into Cloquet, to help reconnect, since a lot of people in those neighborhoods have been historically cut off due to legacy pollution and industrialization. So this was an opportunity to really strengthen the relationships they may have had in the past, and then just have people experience something new as well.
Are you a fisher angler?
Yeah,
Angler.
I'd say so. I haven't in a few years, but now my boys are at the age where they're interested, so we pack them in the car, haul them down to Papa, and
Yeah, take them out.
yeah,
Fun.
yeah. So yeah, I love fishing.
I don't like to take them off the hook.
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes to do that.
Yeah.
But it's if you're gonna eat them, you have to.
Yeah, I don't like that part. Before we go, let's take a look at what you might be up to this weekend. Maybe you'll be fishing or heading out to the 5th annual Bong Airport Open House. It's featuring a full day of aviation, education, and entertainment. The commemorative Air Force Lake Superior hangar opens at 9 a.m. with history exhibits and tours. Food options include Tom's Taste of Chicago starting at 11, along with mini donuts throughout the day. A classic car gathering adds to the atmosphere as well. The Blue Water Big Band is scheduled to perform at 1 p.m. Flight activities are planned through all weather. It's all weather dependent, of course.
The Park Point Rummage Sale stretches 4 miles along Minnesota Avenue in Duluth's Park Point neighborhood. Held June 13th and 14th, the event features around 125 properties hosting sales at the same time. All sales take place on private property with no public space designated for vendors. Traffic congestion is expected in the area, and many shoppers will bring bags, backpacks, or wagons to carry their finds.
The annual Lincoln Park Summerfest is taking place on Superior Street between 19th and 22nd Avenues West, celebrating the Lincoln Park community with a full lineup of food, music, and activities. More than 35 vendors and food trucks will be participating this year. Family-friendly attractions include a bounce house, petting zoo, face painting, and hands-on activities with local organizations. Live music comes from Brianne Templer, UU Mix, and Sam Henry. The day also features dance lessons, a maypole dance, and demonstrations from area groups, including the Duluth Folk School and Summit Martial Arts. It's exciting.
It is.
A lot going on this weekend, and that's it for this week's show. Go out and enjoy your weekend. I'm Brett Scott.
And I'm Maria Hewitt. Thank you for joining us. Good night.